explain. I think all the listeners are going to be very interested in
Sure.
understanding, what the components are. What is the role of TSH? What is the role of CBD and how are they different? Please explain all these things.
So when we talk about the cannabis plant as a whole, so cannabis plant is something which is very biodegradable and it can be used, the whole plant can be used. So when we talk about the whole plant, just starting from the seeds basically. Seeds is something which is not having THC. THC is a component which normally gives us psychopathic effects. Along with that, it helps to reduce the pain because obviously when you take a sleeping pill or a painkiller, it is very important that there's some part which the THC is actually numbs down the brain due to which you don't feel the pain. That is where the THC comes into picture. And then comes CBD. CBD is basically something which actually cures it. CBD is like a compound which is normally used for curing. So whenever if you are having a pain, one part will stop the pain. The receptors which actually is there, they will stop that. And the other part, which is the CBD, it will cure it. So basically, you're getting two functionalities into one.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Voice It with Karishma. Today we have Sukrit Goel with us. He is the founder of Cannazo India. Okay, he has a brand which is very new, and all the concepts and he's going to explain to us further about what the brand is about. But I feel like it's such a good thing to talk about a brand which sometimes becomes, or a product that sometimes becomes controversial, right? But he's going to explain to us about all the medical benefits about it, how everything is approved, and the beautiful products behind it. I personally use the products, and they're great. So Sukrit, welcome to Voice It with Karishma. And I'm really happy to have you here. I'm looking forward to all our conversations, and I want you to elaborate about your brand. I know that it's based on the whole cannabis product, and it's got these different medicinal benefits and everything. But please explain to us what the product is, what the brand is, what your journey is like. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So basically, rooting back to around 2017, so that's where I got to know about medical cannabis on my trip to US.
Yeah.
And that very moment, that time, knowing the legalities, I wasn't really sure of starting a brand by the name of Cannazo India. That time, I was more into hydroponics. So hydroponics is also something which was very new in India that time, and I had made my own system of hydroponics of how to grow plants without the help of basically to conserve water without the help of soil. It's just hydroponics you can do on water. So that's where I actually started, and that's where I got to know about medical cannabis because at that very point, government had made it legal for farming in Uttarakhand for cannabis.
Yeah.
So that's where my interest for cannabis actually went on, and that's when I went to read more over like what cannabis is, and then I got to know about the different aspects, the different medical properties, and that's how basically I came up with the idea of starting my own brand of Cannazo India. Now, when I wanted to start Cannazo India, the major aspect was if I want to target a market or a tap a market, it is very important that I should have people who would actually be willing to take it. So I wanted to know what are the medicines which can be made out of it. So then we had around 2 to 3 researchers which we kept, biomedical as well as biochemists,
Yeah.
to actually know what are the best things which can be done out of cannabis. That's where we went research. We got to know one, it is very good for anxiety and depression, and from there we went for some pain because pain again is something which directly acts on the nerves. That is something which is very different as compared to where other companies still are moreover not focused on going on the nerves but more just on the muscles. So that's where we saw that okay fine, this is something which can be different. Now the last part was again cream. The cosmetic market was it's already tapped. There are so many players, but now when I want to come in cosmetics, obviously it has to be something different. That's where cannabis again helped me a lot because cannabis itself has a lot of properties, and cannabis to like if I would just tell you, it was being used in India since the past 4,000 years. So it's one of the oldest herb which is found in India, which was moreover because of the legalities that it had,
Yeah.
known as bhang in Hindi.
Yes.
People did not really ever use it. But
Yes.
that's where actually in the West, when people started using it, started adapting it for the daily lifestyle, people started to know the benefits. That's where it became legal in the West. And then slowly and gradually, the same thing we try to convince the government. After that, they made it legal in India also. But moreover, the medical cannabis is something which is legal right now in India. So
Yes.
yeah, that's how I basically came up with the brand of Cannazo India.
Thank you. That was really interesting. Thanks for elaborating. Before we started the show, I was talking to you about the whole aspect about TSH and CBD, right? So please explain. I think all the listeners are going to be very interested in
So,
understanding, what the components are. What is the role of TSH? What is the role of CBD and how are they different? Please explain all these things.
so when we talk about the cannabis plant as a whole, so cannabis plant is something which is very biodegradable and it can be used, the whole plant can be used. So when we talk about the whole plant, just starting from the seeds basically. Seeds is something which is not having THC. THC is a component which normally gives us psychopathic effects. Along with that, it helps to reduce the pain because obviously when you take a sleeping pill or a painkiller, it is very important that there is some part which the THC is actually numbs down the brain due to which you don't feel the pain. That is where the THC comes into picture. And then comes CBD. CBD is basically something which actually cures it. CBD is like a compound which is normally used for curing. So whenever if you are having a pain, one part will stop the pain. The receptors which actually is there, they will stop that. And the other part, which is the CBD, it will cure it. So basically, you're getting two functionalities into one. But now the whole plant, when you go to see, it's divided into different aspects.
Yes.
Starting from the seed, there it is not used for medical purposes. Seeds is majorly used for different types of nutritional aspects, where you talk about hemp seed oil, hemp hearts, or hemp seed powder. Because again, it's vegan. Along with that, it's very good for protein. Along with that, it's having 21 essential amino acids, which no other plants actually containing, plus omega 3, plus different types of omegas, which you are actually getting from the plant itself. So no need of taking fish oil or something like that.
Yes.
So yeah, that is where one part comes out of the plant. Now going ahead, the same plant we can use the fabrics. So there are a lot of companies which have come up with fabrics. We are supplying fabrics to them, and they make clothes out of that. So then again, that's a very sustainable way of making fabrics. So yeah, that is the second part. Now coming ahead, that is the plant itself. That is the leaves. So basically, leaves is what is having the medicinal properties, which is basically known as Vijaya extract, which
Yes.
is made from the Vijaya leaves. So we take the Vijaya leaves, we extract all the CBD, THC, different types of cannabinoids out of it, and then we purify it further, like taking out all the waxes and all the terpenes. Now, whatever is left, that is basically your good part, the THC, CBD, and different cannabinoids which are actually having a healing effect.
Yeah.
And according to for what medicine we are using, we will add different other Ayurveda herbs also to it to
Yes.
just to increase the efficacy, because it's better to have more effect which you would actually getting. So, for example, in brain easer, we would be having Tagara. That is again a very potent herb which is for your depression. So we make a combination of these herbs, post which it gets approved by the government itself, like the Ayush department of government. They approve the Ayurvedic medicines.
Yes.
After that, we launch it in the market. So this is where you talk about the whole medical cannabis aspect. So yeah, this is how the whole plant is divided, and each and every part of the plant can be used. There's nothing that cannot be used in this plant.
Wow, that is really fascinating. I'm sure, so many people wouldn't be knowing this. They wouldn't know that you can actually use the entire plant. You know how we have the coconut, how we have the banana. These also plants are so essential for our day-to-day, uses because every single aspect of that plant is used. So the same way now, I mean, it opens our eyes to so many different, it opens our eyes to this thing that, oh, now this entire plant, why is it so important medicinally? Because you can use every single aspect of it. Thank you, Sukrit, for elaborating on this.
Honestly, that was one reason it was mentioned in the Atharvaveda also. So there was like when you talk about Atharvaveda, there are 5 sacred plants.
Yeah.
Out of that, one of the major plant is said to be hemp.
Wow, that is fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for elaborating that. Also, so, Sukrit, with hemp, right? So you could call it hemp, you can call it cannabis, different things, right? Even the seed, which you just mentioned about, right? So,
Correct.
I'm sure when you started out, because of people not being that educated about this aspect, that two things are separate, the drug as such is separate and the medicinal property is different, right?
Correct.
So a lot of people get confused with this. So tell me, how difficult was it? What were your experiences like? When you
See,
would
I would
go
say
out and talk about it.
it is still very difficult because when you talk about hemp seed oil, which is not having any THC, nothing, which is moreover just for the nutritional purposes,
Yeah,
people still call it bhang ka tel,
yeah,
where it is not actually bhang ka tel, it is the seeds from which we are taking it out. So,
Yeah.
when you call a bhang ka tel, it can be from the seed also, it can be from the leaf also. So
Yeah.
still when we get orders, a lot of people by chance they order hemp seed oil thinking it's the medicine which we are ordering, and then they say, okay, fine, why so much price difference? That is why we need to make them understand, okay, fine, hemp seed oil is something which is moreover just for the nutritional aspects
Yeah.
and not for the medicinal properties. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is a very big challenge in the market. Yet here it is very important for people to know, one is the leaf part. That's why we try to segregate it by saying hemp leaf extract. So that is basically from the leaf,
Yeah.
and the other which we say hemp oil or a hemp seed oil. So people can understand, one is from the leaf, one is from the seed. Leaf is basically for all the medicinal properties. Seed is basically moreover for the nutrition as well as what is approved in the FSI. So that's the two different ways how we can actually go about it.
And what is your I'm sure you must have done a projection, or you have a vision with an aspect with the brand and also with products which are made from cannabis, right? What's your vision for the next 5 years? How do you see the market? How do you see the brand? Please tell us about that.
See, when I talk about that, I would say the market will grow for sure because people have something where they are actually planning to shift to alternative medicines.
Yes.
In the very first month that I've launched, I've seen around 3.5 lakh sales, which I was not really sure about, because just launching and having a 3.5 lakh sales was like even something which is very, really good for me. So I was like, okay, that's when I realized that when I actually personally talk to the clients to take a review or a feedback, because sometimes even I prefer to talk to them to actually know how well the product is. I
Yes.
realize the major thing what people want right now is they don't want to take medicines. They
Yeah.
want an alternative for the medicines.
Yes.
So when we are talking about alternative for medicines, that is where medical cannabis basically fits, because it's Ayurveda first of all, and second of all, not having any type of side effects. So
Yes.
that is where I see, yes, there could be a huge market, because now when you talk about depression medicines, people don't want to take normal depression medicines. But now when you talk about medical cannabis, something which is actually gonna heal you up,
Yeah.
people are okay with that. They're very open with that when I'm giving that. Or for majorly when you talk about cancer.
Yeah.
So I have had more than 35 patients for whom we've given cancer, like the hemp extract, the hemp leaf extract, which I'm talking about,
Yeah.
which has helped them a lot with the pain, and they're really happy, because there were time when I knew people who internationally they tried to import a hemp extract, RSO oil, which is basically known as,
Yeah.
for the pain.
Yeah.
But now with this is something which is really good, and there are a lot of medicines which are having opium in it.
Yeah.
Basically, not my medicines, but normal medicines which are having opioids, opium, which people are not really keen on because of the side effects.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about medical cannabis, it is giving you the same effects, reducing your pain, but without any side effects. So
Yeah.
that is again a huge market when it opens for the cancer patients. So yeah, not only that, when you talk about any type of marks like the skin marks or something,
Yeah.
now when you talk about a normal cosmetic, yes, they do help. But when you talk about cannabis, again, it itself has exfoliating properties, which tends to get the different types of marks down. We've tried it with people. We've had a test study of around 150 people,
Yes.
and yes, it did work for them. The marks actually started going. So that is again which a medical cannabis is having. So medical cannabis, I think there'll be a huge market in the 5 years, because medical cannabis is one thing which is not just stuck with one aspect.
Yeah.
From that, you can make medicines, any type of food internationally, which has already started. Where you talk about even CBD water,
Yeah.
CBD drinks, CBD popcorn also internationally. CBD popcorn and CBD chocolates have started.
Yes.
So, I mean, any food you want, you just add CBD. It's a different market altogether, which you can create. Now, that is just with CBD.
Yeah.
Same thing starts with hemp.
Yeah.
Where you talk about plant-based meat, hemp has started internationally.
Yeah.
You talk about any type of protein bath or anything, any type of plant-based protein, again, hemp comes into picture. So, from this, it is just, you just need to have good investors to actually grow, because you need to shoot it up very fast. Reason being, there's nothing which you cannot do with hemp or CBD. That is just like one thing you add, and you can make a new different product altogether.
Yes. That is very fascinating. I just love.
Yeah, that's like cosmetics also, you would be knowing. Cosmetics also people have started. Everything, cannabis itself, you can make so many things, massage oils.
Yes.
So we, what else
I
is
was
left
actually
then?
I was actually really fascinated when, I mean, even it's a very interesting story, but with your product which is used for the skin, the serum that you have, right? I mean, I'm a
Yes,
personal fan. I love the product. Okay.
thank you.
And what I want to tell you is that, when I got to know, initially the reaction was when I saw the bottle, and I'm very particular about the kind of things that I put onto my face, inside my body, not
Correct.
just because it's my job, but it's because I personally am really conscious about it. I do feel very, very responsible for the kind of things that I put onto my body. So when I read it and I read the ingredients, I was a little skeptical about it. But then, I tried it and I just loved it. I mean, it was that day and it's today. I love the product. So please tell us about that. I want the people to understand that this is not something that is just edible, or it's not about being very, pain related. But you mentioned cosmetics, and you made this beautiful serum. You call it the youth elixir, very, very rightly. So please
It's
explain,
India's
how
first.
did that happen, and explain to us about that.
So when I was searching the cosmetic market, there were a lot of brands which came up with hemp-based cosmetics.
Yeah.
So now hemp-based cosmetics is something which is not regulated at all, because I mean you don't have Ayush, and apparently it's not something which is actually having cannabis.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of people were into that. But I was like, if so many people are already into something, why not try to do something different? So we worked along with a lot of doctors, after which we took the approvals from the Ayush, because that's a type of a drug which we were using, basically the
Yeah.
clinical cream.
Yeah.
So post which we were like, okay, let's find something which is very different. So this is India's first cannabis cream. As of now, there's no cannabis cream which is
Yes.
existing in the market.
Yes.
And we very proudly write it on our boxes also, that India's first cannabis cream. We had a trial for around 250 patients,
Okay.
where basically some were for anti-aging, which we were using. Some had wrinkles, basically. Some wanted just for the marks, which they were basically having. Some wanted for moisturizing. So
Yeah.
we tried to make an overall aspect where we did not want to be, called as a medical cream, but
Yeah.
we wanted to be called as a cosmetic cream, because that is something which people can have in their daily lives. So
Yes.
that's where we tried to put the medical aspects of medical, like the cannabis, in the cream, along with different products. Basically we have safflower oil in it, and different type of sea buckthorn extract,
Yeah.
which gives the other effects of actually softening the skin, as well as taking out the marks, brightening the skin. So overall we try to make it as a cosmetic product where your anti-aging also works, where the cannabis is concerned. Along with that, because a person can use it daily,
Yeah.
the other extracts will basically help for the hydration, as well as the different things where people need for toning also.
Yeah.
That, and we first had the option of putting a flavor where we were putting a chocolate flavor, but then we came to this thing, why not just keep it Ayurvedic? Because when it was Ayurvedic, we've kept it more over a traditional Ayurvedic, with that Ayurvedic smell, rather than putting chocolate or something. Because we gave it to a few clients, they said they were not really keen with the smell, because they were more into this thing ki, some people have asthma, some people have other issues. So then I was like, because medical cannabis itself has a very, very strong smell to it.
Yes, it
So
does.
that's where we just try to neutralize it. And now we are giving what is very neutralized, which a person can apply it in the morning, night, anytime.
Yes.
So that's where we came out with this concept of medical cannabis.
Thank you. Thank you for elaborating. I love the story. I love all the aspects that you have so brilliantly, because of your own research, because of everything that all the passion that you've put inside the brand. It shows, and you're so well informed. Thank you, Sukrit, for this. Lastly, I want to ask you, so many young entrepreneurs these days, and I feel like things like the Shark Tank, and everybody finally opening and understanding that there's so much more potential in entrepreneurship, right? If there was one lesson or one message that you had to give to the listeners who are wanting to start something new, or have some kind of passion project, or are themselves young entrepreneurs, what would you, as per your journey, your experience, what would you like to tell them?
See, I would say, as per my journey, a co-founder is very important. Very honestly, I wasted 1 year just to search a co-founder. People tell me what you've done is something which is very stupid. You could have started earlier, but I feel that is very important, because now today, once you start, sometimes what happens is, touch wood, I'm from a good family, but there are a lot of people who just want to start. Now, when they start, it's not necessary that they have the capacity or the funding to keep 3 or 4 people initially. So
Yes.
that time, if you have a co-founder, there are at least 2 people to take the risks. 2 people, sometimes you feel very upset where your sales are not coming, or you are just shattered where you don't really know how, how will the products being sold, or talking to the people. That is where you actually have someone along with you in the journey whom you can rely on.
Yeah.
That is something which I feel is very, very important, because I have seen people in my friends also, they've started their own businesses alone. That's really good. That's also a very good thing. But I feel, that time is where you don't really know anyone and you don't have anyone to support you. And
Yeah.
it's very important in a startup that you have someone who's always constantly supporting you. And when two people support each other, it's always much more easier to start up a journey rather than, just doing alone and doing everything alone. It's
Yes.
very tough.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Thank you. Thank you for your insights.
So
Thank you,
that's
Sukrit.
the thing was, one thing I say, we in startup, we learned how to design a website on our own,
Yeah.
because we gave it to a website designer, did not work. Me and my partner at night, we sat and we learned how to design website. Startup is one where you will learn everything which you would have ever done
I
in your
agree.
life.
I absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Yes. Yes.
So that is one thing, from delivery channels to all that. This is just like, I was like, it's better you have someone who's actually helping you, because even after giving contracts to people, nothing happens. And ultimately, you are the person who has to sit down and do the work.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for your insights, Sukrit. Very, very, it's been very informative, along with fun to have a conversation with you. I
Thank
hope
you.
everyone who's listening can benefit from this conversation. They will understand what the product is about, what really goes into the background of creating a niche product, right? Once again, thank you.
Yeah, I would say, one thing I want to add, when we talk about this product, why I launched this also. I mean, a lot of people don't know. So basically, 10 years back, my personally, I used, like, 10 years, I would say 7 years back, when I went to US. That time I used this because around 10 years back, I got a brain hemorrhage, basically.
Okay.
So that's where I got to know about medical cannabis and its repairing properties, which I use it on myself.
Yeah.
When it actually worked for me, that is where I said, okay, it has some prospect. Whenever I can start, I'll start. So maybe 3-4 years later, I got the opportunity. So I said, chalo, okay, now I'm getting the opportunity. Why not start? But yeah, legal aspects, there are a lot of legal aspects in India yet
Yes.
for
Yes.
medical cannabis.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it makes so much of a difference when it stems from a personal journey. That's why it's so passionate. So thank you for sharing those things with us, Sukrit. It was lovely to have you today on this
Thank
conversation.
you.
And I wish you all the best with the brand. And I wish you all the best with every single thing that you would like to do with the brand and with your personal life.
Thank you so much.